Thanks for joining me, I'm Aaron Rutten, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Parblo Mast 22 display tablet. That's coming up next. Quick disclaimer, this video is sponsored by Parblo, but as always, the opinions in this video are my own. First, let's take a quick look at an overview of the features. The Parblo Mast 22 is a display tablet you can draw on with a pressure-sensitive pen. The pen supports over 8,000 pressure levels. The active drawing area on the screen is 21.5 inches, and it's in 1920 by 1080 HD resolution. The Parblo Mast 22 connects via HDMI and USB. Now let's go a bit deeper into some of the features and specifications of the Parblo Mast 22. Let's start by going in depth into the screen. It's a very large screen at 21.5 inches, so you'll have plenty of room to gesture. And best of all, there's no bezel to interrupt your brushstrokes. That makes this a great tablet for large gesture drawing. One downside to the bezel-free design is that when you draw brushstrokes near the bezel, they bounce off of the edge of the bezel, creating a line that goes back onto your canvas. This can happen on the top, bottom, left, or right, and it doesn't happen with every single brushstroke, but it happens often enough to be a concern. For this reason, I recommend that you size your canvas a bit smaller than full screen, that way your brushstrokes don't go near the edge of the screen. The Parblo Mast 22 has a matte film pre-applied to the screen, and that matte film has a paper-like feel. It does not feel slippery to draw on like some of the other Cintiq alternatives I've tried. The feel is nice, but the screen protector itself does not stick very well to the tablet. It's actually already peeling off. The glass on the screen is laminated and bonded, which improves parallax reduction, and the anti-glare surface works really well to diffuse reflections. The color gamut is wide, but color accuracy is a bit off. As you can see, when I switch between calibrated and uncalibrated view, this display can benefit from color calibration. According to Parblo's website, this device measures around 82% NTSC and 114% sRGB. My Spider 5 colorimeter measured Adobe RGB at 79%. I found it difficult to calibrate the display because of the button location and the fact that the colorimeter covers the display options menu. Other display tablets have a control panel that can be repositioned on screen. Now let's discuss the pen. The pen is very basic, and it requires charging before you can use it. There is not an eraser on the pen, and the pen does not support pen tilt. The pen does feel a little unbalanced because of the battery on the end, which makes it heavier on the back end, and the rubber grip doesn't feel as soft as Wacom's pen or some of the other alternatives that I've tried. Pen pressure on the Mast 22 is very smooth. Lines taper nicely, it's easy to get light pressure, the transitions in line width and opacity are even. I have to say, as far as pressure is concerned, this is far better than some of the other alternatives I've tried. Should your pen nib wear out, you have 8 replacement nibs hiding inside of the pen stand. The parallax on the Mast 22 is decent, but as with many of the Cintiq alternatives, the cursor strays from the pen tip when you tilt the pen. The cursor also strays a bit when you move near the left and right edges of the screen. Since many slider bars are located here, that may make it difficult to grab the handle. As far as line quality is concerned, the lines are a little bit jittery and wavy, even if you use a straight edge. It was especially noticeable in Krita, where it was really jittery. If you draw quickly, you might not notice this as much, but if you draw slowly, you're definitely going to notice a little bit of wobble in your lines. Also, I noticed that double click doesn't register some of the time. So that just about sums up the pen. Let's move to the exterior of the device. I appreciate the thin design of this tablet. It's 7mm thick at its thinnest point. Instead of being made of mostly plastic, it's made of metal. That does put it on the heavier side as far as display tablets are concerned. But again, the metal build quality feels very durable, so I think that's a fair trade-off. In regards to the cables, this tablet uses individual cables rather than a nice tidy all-in-one cable. However, the upside to that is if a cable is destroyed, you could always get a generic HDMI or USB cable to replace it. The cable connections are a little bit weak. I'd be concerned about them breaking or becoming disconnected by accident. There's also a handy 1/8" audio output jack for headphones or speakers on the back of the tablet. There are not any express keys on the exterior of the Mast 22, and the driver does not offer on-screen keys. There are some buttons on the bottom edge of the tablet that can power the tablet on and off, and adjust the color temperature, backlight, brightness, contrast, and sharpness, but they're a little bit difficult to reach where they're located. There's only a small gap between the tablet edge and the desk. Unfortunately, there is not a convenient control panel to adjust the screen settings, so you have to use these buttons on the outside of the tablet, which I find difficult to navigate. Now, the Mast 22 can be used to mirror your display, or you can extend your display so that you're using multiple monitors at once. You can do this by going into your display settings and changing it from duplicate to extended. Once you've done that, you may also want to adjust the UI scaling for the Mast 22 so that your application UI doesn't take up too much of the screen. You may also need to go into the Parblo control panel and toggle the screen setting so that the pen is active on the correct monitor. If you've tried that and the pen still doesn't work on the correct monitor, then you'll need to reinstall or repair the driver. Once you get extended mode working with the UI scaling set how you like it, you'll have plenty of room to draw on your canvas with your palettes off to the side. The control panel has very limited options. It doesn't offer quite as much as many of the other display tablets do, but it worked well enough. One thing I didn't like about the control panel is that it opens automatically when you start Windows. I don't see a way to disable that. In regards to the driver quality, the drivers are a bit buggy. I found that I've had to uninstall and reinstall them on several occasions just to get the cursor to appear on the correct screen. If you're fairly tech savvy, you can troubleshoot it and eventually get it to work, but hopefully this is something that can be fixed with a future driver update. Now let's talk about the stand. Included with the Mast 22 is an adjustable stand that attaches securely to the tablet. You can angle the tablet from 15 to 85 degrees. Unlike the metal surrounding the screen, the stand is made out of plastic. Nevertheless, it does a good job of keeping your tablet stable when you're drawing on it. If you don't like the stand, I'm not sure that you have many alternatives, because this tablet does not have mounting holes for a standard VESA bracket. It does look like the stand could be removed, and possibly you could connect a VESA adapter using the mounting holes for the included stand, but I don't know for sure because I didn't remove the stand. Alright, so now for my conclusion. After trying the Parblo Mast 22, I was pleasantly surprised at the paper-like feel of the matte screen, the bezel-free design, and the durable metal construction of the tablet. Albeit basic, the pen has an excellent pressure response, but the jittery and wobbly lines hold the pen back in terms of line quality. I'm also not a fan of charging pens, since even some of the Cintiq alternatives have battery-free pens at this point. The 21-inch screen is a good size for making art, and the color gamut is decent, but the color accuracy suffers a bit and requires calibration. Alright, so that was my review of the Parblo Mast 22 display tablet. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button, and if there were any questions that I did not answer in this review, feel free to comment down below. And if you're new to my channel, click that subscribe button and check out some more of my drawing tablet reviews. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.